your brain, you're in the nuts domain. Come on in, it's about to begin.
Hi everybody, and welcome to Whatcha Doin. I'm Matt.
I'm John.
I'm Jesse.
I'm Shirley.
And we're going to talk about what's going on in our lives that's geeky and fun. And I will start us off with books. So I have an Audible account, and this month I picked up 2 books for the price of 1, because that's awesome. And I got Bram Stoker's Dracula, and also got The Companions by R.A. Salvatore. Shirley and I have been listening to Dracula kind of late at night as we go to bed, and so far
may not be a good idea.
It's not necessarily
kind
a
of
great
risky
idea.
on a horror story, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, some people would say that it's not a horror story; it's a
romantic tragedy. I'm getting a petition.
Somebody likes the dark romances, then, don't they?
It is classified as a gothic romance, if I'm not.
Oh, it is?
Really? I mean, that makes sense.
If I'm not mistaken.
I didn't even know.
Kind of like Frankenstein is a gothic romance.
Fair enough. Yeah, I can see that too. So I'm really liking Dracula. I also tried to read start rereading the Wheel of Time book 1, and the first 4 chapters dragged the first time. Guess what? They still drag.
They all drag.
They don't all drag. Not every chapter in those books drags, Jesse. You know that.
The first 4 chapters of the series are setting up the idyllic country lifestyle that the main characters live in before...
I'm not saying that it's not a good literary device, and it's not being used well. I'm saying it's slow.
Yeah, the first 4 chapters of A Game of Thrones sets up its story, too, but 16 people die.
No, that's not true.
But that's a difference in the story, you know. I mean, if I were you, Matt, I would just skip to the action, get them on the road.
I was thinking about that,
and that's because again, you understand it. There's nothing significant in those first 4 chapters, so you can just skip it and move on.
Yeah, I could. I probably will as soon as we get done with Dracula, or I get time to read. Because since I have been not going to work, I haven't been taking lunches where I don't want to talk to people and I read instead. So that's how I read.
Or play Ticket to Ride.
Or play Ticket to Ride because, I don't love Shirley enough to play Ticket to Ride with her all the time.
On my lunch.
On her lunch. So let's go to Jesse.
Well, I've been reading a lot of comics lately. I've been in the process of moving, so I haven't had time for big books, but I've been reading The Superior Spider-Man, and I'm liking it quite a bit.
So you're liking Dan Slott?
Yeah, I am. I'm not a big Spider-Man fan or superhero fan for that matter. I like my stuff with Shades of Grey. I like Batman, that sort of thing. But with Dr. Ock as the Spider-Man, he's still trying to do good, but you can see the bad within him fighting to get out. I want to be...
Have you...
What?
I'm sorry, on that note, have you read The Hawkeye?
I haven't, but I want to. It is on my list of things to get a hold of.
You need to read... just get on Comixology. You could probably find them for cheap. The first 3 issues, if you get into it and you don't like those, then you won't like the rest of it. But I think it's an amazing bit of work for Matt Fraction, who's also writing Batman.
Oh, really?
Isn't he?
Maybe.
That sounds right, doesn't it, John?
It's not usual for people to be on both a DC and a Marvel title, so I don't know the answer to that question, but I would disagree that that's likely.
Maybe.
He probably
maybe not.
did in the past. He may have done series for Batman in the past, but it's...
I'm sorry, no, he's doing other stuff. He did Invincible Iron Man, The Immortal Iron Fist, some of the Uncanny X-Men stuff.
All Marvel.
He is not the Batman writer. That is my mistake.
Tisk.
Yeah.
Turning your...
Anyway.
Good job.
Yeah.
Anything else?
Yeah, I've also been reading Afterlife with Archie. That's a very interesting take on the whole zombie apocalypse thing. All the movies try to get across the whole feeling of, like, what would you do if your family members return and stuff, and I always feel like that's kind of lost. But I've kind of grown up with these characters.
Have you gotten the newest one, issue 4?
No, that one I don't.
No?
I think I'm on 3.
Okay. I read the first one. I really, really liked it.
Yeah.
But I haven't gotten past it because, I haven't had money to go buy comic books.
Yeah.
So, Anything else?
Yeah, I've also been reading Lock and Key. That was a great series. I finished it off. There's only like 6 series of 6 comics each, I think.
Okay.
If it's done that way. But anyway, yeah, that's a very interesting storyline, and I'm glad I didn't recognize the author. Because I'm not a big fan of Stephen King.
So, you're on the my father's dishonor dishonors myself.
Kind of. Apples don't fall far from trees, sort of a thing. Not saying I wouldn't give it a chance, but yeah, Stephen King's left a bad taste in my mouth in more than one of his books. And
so you're pleasantly surprised?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, I loved this book, and then I was surprised to find out it was him, and I plan on checking out some more of the stuff he's done.
Yeah, he actually writes books as well. And I've heard they're pretty good, so you might check those out.
Yeah, but for a comic book, this reads like a book in my book. I mean, I could see this as a novel.
Right on. All right, Shirley, what have you been reading?
I've been kind of trying to get back to myself, do a little USA breathing, and so right now I'm reading a spiritual journey book called Journey to the Dark Goddess, How to Return to Your Soul, and a really good book. I mean, I'm blowing through this book. It's a pretty large book, and I'm not a very fast reader. But Temple of Love by my friend published it. Her name's Lorelei Black, and I'm halfway through it. It's a regular size novel, and it's been 3 to 4 days. So I'm really liking Temple of Love. It's about ancient Greece and the priestesses of the Aphrodite temple in Levos. So, yeah.
I don't know if you've ever read it, but I think a book you'd really enjoy is a Stranger in a Strange Land by Robert Heineken, I think. Heineken something. But I think you would really like it.
I think I've seen a couple of quotes from him. But, yeah I'll definitely give that a look.
But it's still got that kind of vibe to it.
Stranger in a Strange Land.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You've been reading any Wheel of Time since you're still way behind?
No, I'm still way behind.
Okay.
And, I got stuck on the book, the 4 number of the book, Wheel of Time.
Book 4?
Book 4 of Wheel of Time.
That's a good stopping point.
It's not a good stopping point. It gets better.
It's a lot. It's awesome.
It's also not a good stopping point because she's supposed to buy book 8, and that's what I'm waiting on.
Yeah. So until I get to book 8, which will be by my 80th birthday, I think I'll get there by then. It's crazy. The story's dragging on. I want, answers quickly, and I'm not getting them. So I just kind of took a hiatus from the Wheel of Time books for a second.
Well, it's okay. How about you, John? Any books for you?
No real books for me. I just finished The Complete Invincible Omnibus Volume 2, collecting issues 14 through 24, I believe. That was fun because I read Invincible early on, but it fell out of my stack of books because it was so intermittent in its early days, but now they're on issue 108, 112, I forget what we decided earlier.
Yeah, well, I think 112 was just my number. I knew they were way above 100.
Yeah.
Above 100.
Yeah,
so. And
I follow Ryan Otley on Twitter, the artist, and he posts, sneak previews, and I forget what issue he says he's drawing right now, where they're at. But it's Invincible is a deconstruction of the superhero genre that kind of pokes fun at the tropes of superhero books. It's a real good read. It's especially good in a collected volume like The Complete Invincible is, because you're not waiting for issues to come out month to month. The story is real good. It's written by Robert Kirkman, who is famous for creating The Walking Dead, both the comic and the AMC television show. Is it AMC?
Yeah.
AMC, television show.
We watch it on Netflix, so I don't know.
Right. So he does both books. It's really good. Ryan Otley is when he does a fight scene, it is pretty graphic, blood and guts and eyeballs popping out of skulls and stuff.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's not horrible. Like the thing that I actually wrote about this for my latest book review that'll be up on the website probably by the time this comes out. You can go read my further thoughts, but I think the problem I have with Ryan Otley's art is that he's loose, cartoony, like it's realistic proportions, but cartoony on the details. So there's a certain level of innocence there, but then he's got brain matter and eyeballs and stuff, and it's kind of off-putting in its juxtaposition there.
It's a little disconcerting.
A little bit. It's not horrible. You're not going to get. It shouldn't turn your stomach, but it is a little graphic if you're.
Have you read The Boys?
I have not read The Boys.
I was going to say, is it as graphic as that is, or?
What I've seen of The Boys, I would say it's a few steps down the scale from The Boys. But I've seen a scene in Invincible where Superman level character, pops a guy's head like a pimple, and it's kind of gross, but
I definitely want to check it out.
Yeah, it's good. It's really good because it deals with the superheroes in a quote unquote real world, but it still has all the tropes and it pokes fun at itself and other stories. All the while being a serious superhero book that you can enjoy.
So Jesse, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, it's worth checking out. Done.
Jesse, are you saying that you will read a book based solely on how graphic it gets?
No, I'm not. Like I said, I'm not a huge fan of superheroes. So when they take superheroes and twist them a little bit, I like that.
You might consider checking out a book called Crossed. No, I'm not going to tell you anything about it.
Don't.
Go read the internet.
Crossed?
Go read the internet. Yes. It will make The Boys look like a Sunday picnic.
It's kind of gross from what I've seen.
So, with that in mind, we're going to move on to podcasts. We'll start with Shirley. Shirley, have you been podcasting it?
Yes, I have been podcasting it.
What have you been listening to?
I am glad you asked, Matt.
What have you been listening to?
So I am like a historical nut in the sense that I don't know anything about history, but I love listening to stories about history, and stories about Ireland are stories, most of the stories that I like the best. So I've been listening to Story Archaeology. It's put on by Chris Thompson and his old Carmody, and I can't remember which is which, but one is an actual historian and teaches at a university, and one is actually a storyteller. So these two people got together. They've got a love of the history, and they go through the history of Ireland, but then they tell it in the form of a story. So they have this unique perspective on the history that they tell, but they tell it in a way that it's really inviting, and then they have guests on their shows. But it's all about Ireland, or it's all about the different types of historical stories of Ireland. And then not only do they go into the story of the history, but they go into the myth. Like they'll start with a myth, and then they'll start like backtracking the bits and pieces of history that leads to this myth and how that myth possibly started. Kind of like King Arthur. Like they said that Arthur was a Sumerian knight at one time, so they tried to link him to history. So that's what they kind of do in story archaeology. On the more geeky side, I'm still listening to the Dystopic Boys, and then I am starting to listen to Ladies of Leet. They like playing video games, so I haven't started listening to them. And then on my, my spiritual side, I'm listening to Voices of the Sacred Feminine. So.
And Ladies of Leet, we want to give them a quick shout out because Nicole Spagnolo is awesome and was very thankful for our review of Nerd Parents. Don't want to cut you off there, Johnny, because I know that you might touch on that, but she was very, very thankful for our review, and we were happy to have that interaction with her and all of her fans that came over to the site to read the review. So
yeah, and then there, of course, is Voices of the Sacred Feminine, which is following up my Journey to the Dark Goddess book. And
Voices of the Sacred Feminine?
Yeah, Voices of the Sacred Feminine.
Okay. Johnny.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You listen to any podcasts ever?
Oh, constantly. I was listening to one before we started recording, in fact. Thanks to Jesse's recommendation, I believe it was Jesse, who wrote the Pseudopod review.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you wrote that one. I got into that podcast where they have horror stories read by various contributors, written by various authors, both professional and amateur, both of those titles being in quotes because, where's that line in the sand? But I did not realize from the episodes of Pseudopod that I'd listened to, but they do two other podcasts called Escapepod and Podcastle, which are sci-fi and fantasy stories, respectively.
Yeah, have you listened to them yet?
I have listened to a few of each, and they run the gamut. There's Pseudopod there's some hits and misses. Escapepod, there's hits and misses. Probably in Escapepod, it's because I feel it's more of a broad category. You say sci-fi, and that can mean a lot of stuff. So there's some that are like 20 minutes in the future and are psychological character explorations, and then there's others that are action adventure space opera type stories. So runs the gamut on Escapepod. So, but I like it.
Does the host still break down the story at the end of it like they do on Pseudopod, or is that something they just stick with that one?
Occasionally, I remember them doing that, but but I believe the thing about at least with Escapepod, I've just discovered Podcastle. That Escapepod is usually has a rotating not narrator, host. So I've heard the guy that does Pseudopod on Escapepod. So I think that's more of a thing he does.
Okay.
But they do. Some others have done it for Escapepod, and then Podcastle, the fantasy one, I literally just discovered Tuesday, and my regular shows kind of got in the way, and I haven't listened to that as much as I'd like. So starting next week, I'll be working in more Podcastle episodes.
It is also, those are all part of the Escapepod Incorporated podcasting network.
Oh, are they?
Yeah.
I looked it up just to see if we could, since they are all together, I assume they were in a podcasting network. And
yeah.
Yes, that is the Escapepod Incorporated, because it started with Escapepod and went into Pseudopod and Podcastle.
Yeah, well, they don't do a great job of pointing that out, because I think I actually was listening to an entirely different, unrelated podcast to find out about Podcastle. So It was kind of a weird, like, why didn't I know this existed? But, it's good stuff. I recommend everybody check it out. And yeah, as you mentioned, Nerd Parents is a great show, hosted by Nicole Spagnolo, or Nicole Spag, as she's commonly referred to on the internets, where they talk about parenting in the modern age of technology and geekdom, and basically they have a rotating cast of hosts, Nicole being the core, that the rest rotate around, and talk about the issues that they face day-to-day raising kids. It's been pretty good. It's not for everybody, especially if you don't have kids. Don't listen to it. There's nothing in it for you. If you're thinking about having kids, they did an episode recently with the Valentines, JJ and Renee, who you probably heard those names if you listen to the morning stream. They did an episode that was good. They're expecting twins, so there was talk about preparing for parenthood. They've done an episode with a family that has 7 kids. So they, so they talk about dealing with those issues and everything in between. So it's worth checking out if you're going to be if you're involved in parenting in any way.
Right on.
So,
Jesse,
I have been listening to 2. One of which is one I listen to every day that comes out new, and that's the morning stream. It's just one of the first things I listen to in the morning.
Are you listening to TMS PM?
The first episode?
When it does come out, yes. Has it already been out yet?
One episode.
It came out Thursday night.
Did it?
Yep.
Then I will, yes.
Technically,
if you are a Patreon support member.
And I'm also listening to the Instance now because World of Warcraft's about to come out with a new expansion, and that's one of the best places to get the information for it.
Right on.
But yeah, those are the only 2 I really listen to. Like I said, I've just recently moved, so my commute is a lot less than it used to be. So I don't have enough time to listen to the podcast I used to, unfortunately.
Did you know that Dills actually did some of our technical help for the podcast that we're currently recording?
No, I didn't.
He works for Podomatic. We had some problems with it, and he was the technician that actually helped us. So I thought that was kind of awesome.
That's cool.
And I met Shirley and I met Terpster at Nerdtacular.
Oh yeah,
cool.
He was really cool.
You wouldn't know it from talking to him, and he kind of keeps it quiet. But he's the CEO of the UK's #1 YouTube channel.
No, I didn't. I knew he worked there, but I didn't know he was.
Yeah, he's kind of important.
Yeah.
So yeah. He just did a bunch of stuff for the South Park something.
And he doesn't like talking about his height.
Yeah, he is not a very tall guy.
Oh, really?
But he was really personable and fun, and I was glad to meet him because it was kind of awesome.
He was on the podcast panel.
Yes, he was. Yeah, with Nicole Spag.
At Nerdtacular last year is what you referred to.
Yeah. So, I guess we'll go on into me. I checked out a podcast called Cord Killers. It is, it's Tom Merritt.
Tom Merritt.
And there's somebody else. There's another guy on that. I can't think who it is, though. But it's all about...
and you apologize for that, right?
Yeah, I'm very sorry about that. I can't think of who it is at all. But it is a podcast about cutting the cable cord. So these are ways to get your shows, movies, and things like that, along with news stories that apply to that without having cable. That doesn't mean not having internet. It means just not having the actual cable. So it's really interesting to hear what shows to watch and what shows are coming up and that kind of stuff. It didn't click with me right away, and I'm not sure if it wasn't just their guest host because they have a different guest host on each time. But I'm gonna keep giving it a try. I picked up. No, I haven't really listened to that, so I'll skip that. I'm always on top of Film Sack. I listen to Film Sack every week that it comes out.
I pick and choose on that one.
I listen to them all because they're all funny.
They are.
And then I'm keeping on top of Top 5, and then I'm still trying to catch up on Good Job Brain, but I haven't. What now?
I would say that's another one I forgot that I've been listening to that one since you recommended it.
What do you think?
Oh, I love it. They just did their 100th episode after their Vegas trip.
Oh, I see. I'm back in the 50s.
Oh, well, I haven't gone back to the beginning. I've been listening to new episodes. I worked them into my schedule, so I'll get through their backlog eventually. But my listening schedule is pretty full right now. But they do their every 5 episodes. They do an all quiz show. Episode 100 was one of their every 5, obviously, being a multiple of 5. So it was an all quiz show, plus call in and listener contributions. So it was fun. It was a good one. And their Vegas episodes are really good.
Right on. I also caught up on FSL tonight and listened to the Anime League finals. Oh man. It was Dragon Ball Z and something else just as ridiculous. I can't think of the other team.
Sailor Moon?
It might have been Sailor Moon.
Was it all girls?
Yes, it was. It's not all girls because Black
Tuxedo Mask.
Tuxedo.
Oh yeah.
Tuxedo Master. Whatever.
The one guy.
Okay.
That dude.
My name is my online handle is Fool's Mask. Where do you think part of that came from?
I got nothing. I can't think of anything witty to come back with. Sorry.
Yeah.
We'll move on. So I caught up on that. Turns out that that it was a different kind of game because there's different rules in the International Anime League. Didn't know. So, but that was kind of fun to listen to. I miss FSL tonight, and I can't wait for their new one. If you back Tom Merritt on Patreon, he'll give you a code for like 50% off of their shirts over at Slashloot. So keep that in mind. Not that it matters, but so let's move on to games, and we'll start with Johnny.
Oh, games.
Yeah, that's our next topic.
Right. Without the show notes in front of me, I was a little confused. Games. I can't think of anything new off the top of my head. Although I've been having fun taking King of Tokyo around to my family for family parties. We've had that for a while now. But King of Tokyo is fun. You play giant monsters trying to take over Tokyo and either kill each other or score victory points. Okay. And that's a fun game.
You got just the base game?
We have the Panda expansion because...
Okay, but you don't have the Halloween expansion?
I do not yet have the Halloween expansion.
I just got the Halloween expansion, and to be honest, I'm not as impressed with it as I thought I would be.
Really?
Well,
that's too bad.
What does it
it's not that
include
expensive
beyond
either.
2 new monsters?
It does. It has the 2 new monsters, and they actually have evolutions too, which helps. But it's just
right.
I don't know.
But is there more than that? Like it doesn't actually.
It has a few cards. There's like 12 new cards. They introduced something called costumes, which you can steal from other monsters. I think if you hit them hard enough.
But is that like a power card? Like
yeah, it's just like a card you typically buy with.
Okay, so
yeah, it doesn't really.
So it doesn't really add anything but the 2 new monsters.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else, John?
Castilian is fun. That's from Steve Jackson Games. Also makers of Munchkin and Ogre, if you're into gaming, you've maybe heard of those. Castilian is a tabletop version of the Dots game we all used to play back in the day.
Oh, really?
Yeah, where you have, but instead of dots and lines on paper, you have walls and towers of a castle. And the walls come in either long or short varieties, and then you have joining towers. Each player gets a small stack of cards, which you play out, which tells you what pieces each turn you get, and then you try to build courtyards or squares. The more towers involved in each courtyard, the more points you score. So it's a lot of fun. They come in 2-player sets, so there's a American and an international version. The American version is red and blue scoring towers, and the international version is green and yellow. If you buy one set, it's only a 2-player game, but if you can get a hold of the other set, it'll be a 4-player game, and that can be fun. We currently only have the 2-player version, and while my wife is really good at the game, I can take it to other people, and I'm pretty good when I'm playing against someone who is not my wife, and that is fun. So,
you really shouldn't just let her win. That's not nice.
I don't just let her win. She's crazy good at that game.
Any other games, John?
Nope. That's pretty much it.
Shirley.
Okay, so we have been at Game Paradise like a lot. So
and not to give a huge plug for Game Paradise, but it is a local game library. So like almost 1,400 games we have to choose from.
And we've met a lot of cool people. One of the cool people that we've met is Steven. And he brought up these like silly, games that you just play sitting around a table with nothing or with dice. Okay, with dice.
So can I teach them Bo's Boat real quick?
No. Okay. Let me tell them about the games.
Okay, go ahead. Go.
Okay,
it's all about you talking about games.
That's right. It's like there's Bo's Boat, Who Has the Hat, and Polar Bears on Ice.
Polar Bears on Ice.
Polar Bears on Ice. So tell them about Bo's Boat.
I'll have to teach you guys Polar Bears on Ice when we're together because it requires. Yeah. So here's Bo's Boat. So Bo has a boat. So the question is, what are you going to take on Bo's Boat? I am going to take a microphone on Bo's Boat. Shirley, what would you like to take on Bo's Boat?
I would like to take a bottle of scotch.
Scotch?
Scotch.
So, Johnny, what would you like to take on Bo's Boat?
I will take a drawing pad and pencil.
No,
nope.
Sorry, you can't take that on Bo's Boat.
Oh, okay.
Bo's very particular about the things that go on his boat. Jesse, what would you like to take on Bo's Boat?
A fishing pole.
Nope.
Sorry.
Can't
Bo doesn't like fishing poles on Bo's Boat.
Ooh, I know what I want to take on.
What do you want to take on Bo's Boat?
I want to take a spinning wheel.
A spinning wheel? Okay. You can take a spinning wheel on Bo's Boat. I would like to take a mat to draw on Bo's Boat.
Oh, okay.
Johnny, what would you like to take on Bo's Boat?
A gun, because I'm done.
I'm sorry.
No.
Bo doesn't... You can't take a gun on Bo's Boat.
Well, that's okay. I'll get to the dock and just blow my brains out.
I want one of you two to figure that out. Jesse, what would you like to take on Bo's Boat?
I would like to take a harpoon gun.
I'm sorry. You can't take a harpoon gun on Bo's Boat.
Sorry.
Jesse, you could take a jet ski on Bo's Boat.
Yeah.
I don't know if I want to.
Johnny, you could take a Jaguar on...
You could take a Jaguar on Bo's Boat.
First letter of your name.
Exactly.
Exactly.
And so it's great with like a big group of people, and you don't tell anybody what's going on.
I was the last one who got it. I was banging my head against the table. Literally.
And then we played with somebody, Josh.
Yeah.
And we were like, I'll take a block. Shirley's like, I'll take a block. And Josh was like, oh, I got this. I was like, geez.
I'll take a da-da-da. And he got it like the first time it went around the table.
It's like these mind puzzle games without telling you any of the rules, and that's the idea, is to get you to learn the rules. And once you learn the rules, there's no game.
Yeah.
So we learned like 3 or 4 of those.
Yeah, it was like...
I forget how to play Who Has the Hat.
Who Has the Hat is...
Don't tell them.
What?
Because later we'll play Who Has the Hat.
Okay, anyway. Okay, so we get to play Who Has
Anyway,
the Hat. So,
any other games?
And then, I already mentioned Where's My Fish on the last one.
Yeah.
What do you think about that? I don't remember hearing that.
Oh my god,
it was
Who
fun.
Has My Fish?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, it was so much fun.
It's Where's My Fish, not Who
Has
Has My Fish.
No, You Have My Fish. It was Somebody Has My Fish.
Anyway,
it's like,
Where's My Fish?
That's My Fish.
Where's
That's
My
My
Fish?
Fish.
That's my fish. No, she's right. It is That's My Fish.
That's My Fish, because there's this penguin in this, like, really Shatner
Focus.
Where's my fish?
Shirley.
That's my fish. Anyway.
I like the game, Jesse. It is very simple and easy, and you could play it if you come to the game library.
Yes, you could.
Right after we get done playing Warhammer Quest.
So anyway,
it wasn't
the next
called Hey,
games...
That's My Fish, is it?
Hey, That's My Fish. That's it.
Okay, they have an app for that, and I was thinking about getting it a long time ago. It's $2.99.
No way.
Yeah.
No, I wouldn't pay $2.99.
Oh, but it's so much fun.
Jesse,
I'll play with you.
I think it's more fun with more people than just one.
Yeah.
Anything else?
Nuts and Poo.
We did play Nuts and Poo. The idea of Poo is to fling poo at the other monkeys in
your monkeys. Yeah, your monkeys, and it's cards, so you, like, have this hand of, like, 5 or 6 cards or something, and you just keep drawing and discarding, and as you discard, you're doing actions against other people, and that's the same with Nuts.
Well, the opposite of Nuts is you're playing squirrels, and you want all of the nuts. All of the nuts should be yours.
But people keep stealing your nuts.
Yeah, people steal your nuts.
So there's that.
We played those.
Stupid nuts stealing squirrels.
I'll go next. We played.
Sure, go ahead.
Today we played Wasabi.
See, I was keeping something for you.
Wasabi is a game about making sushi, and I know that sounds
stupid.
Well, it sounds really ridiculous,
gosh.
but it's a really good strategy game, and we enjoyed it quite a bit.
Yeah, I liked it, but no.
So you get little recipes, and you have to use the ingredients that are available to build the recipes, while everybody else is trying to build, and you only have so much room to build them in.
On the mat.
And you get bonuses if you build them in the correct order. It's a really fun game. And again, you can play this at the game library, just saying.
Yeah.
I also got the Shattered Timelines expansion for...
Stupid Game World.
No.
Sorry.
For Sentinels of the Multiverse. So...
What?
Yeah.
When did you get that?
At Hoosier Con. I bought it. I went, I need this. I'm getting it. And you said, you should.
Oh. I've slept since then.
So we now have two new heroes, Chrono Ranger, who's a time-traveling bounty hunter, and Omnicron X, which is an evil supervillain robot who realized that the heroes were beating him because they had empathy, so he installed empathy to beat them, and then the empathy made him realize he was a bad guy and he didn't want to be a bad guy. And it's got some new villains in it that are pretty cool, and a couple of new
I guess I haven't played that one yet.
environments. We haven't had a lot of chance to do anything.
You played that with somebody when I was sleeping.
No, not.
Oh, did you
not
play it at the store?
We played it briefly at the store.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, so those two. What else have we played? Those big one. Oh, we played Game of Thrones.
Oh, did you? What'd you think of it?
Oh,
it was
my gosh.
Awesome.
Yes, it was tons of awesome.
And I'm not saying, Jesse, that you should come up here, but if you come up here,
you should come to the game store.
We've been doing a lot of gaming at the game store, and it's been a lot of fun.
I think we just need to move into the back of the store.
Yeah. Jesse, games?
Yeah. On Steam on the computer and a Xbox 360, there's a game called State of Decay. It's your typical overhead view, post-apocalyptical zombie shooting game. But where it differs is you also have to collect supplies and keep a small unit alive. And death is permanent. So if you lose a character, you just kind of switch over to the next guy that you've saved, assuming you have enough people to save. But yeah, you have to keep gathering supplies up, build up your stronghold, possibly move to a new stronghold.
How much is this game?
I believe it's $20 typically, but Steam has sales every now and then. I got mine for, I want to say, $5 at one point. It was a good buy for $5. I would pay $10. $20 is a little high.
Okay.
But I do. It's a lot of fun. It's one of those that if you don't play it, it still takes resources away from you every day you don't play, up to, I think, 2 days. So after 2 days, it caps out to where nothing else really happens. But people can die while you've logged out.
Okay.
Another game I've been playing for the 3DS is called Bravely Default, which is a horrible-sounding name for a game.
It is.
But it's basically a Final Fantasy done the way it should be done.
Okay.
It has a system in it called Brave and Default. Default is where you defend for a round and you build up attack points. You can spend attack points to gain extra actions. And you can use Brave to go into negative on actions, which then gives your opponent a lot of times to just whack at you for nothing. But it's the good old-fashioned Final Fantasies from like 1 through 8, not the new all-flash sort of thing.
Okay.
Board game-wise, I just recently got Rampage.
Yeah.
I absolutely love it. They thankfully give you extra meeples. The way it is, you set up a board, you stack a few meeples up, you place a building tile on top of it, then you place more meeples on top of that, and you just kind of build up the city that way. It requires a lot of dexterity to play it. You flick discs, you throw monsters, you knock meeple off the table. I've lost 4 or 5 of them already in like the 5 times I've played it.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So we bought 2 games, Adventurers and...
we bought the Adventurers and Sewer Pirates. We haven't played those much, though. Sorry, go ahead, Jesse.
But it's a lot of fun.
That game reminded me of a new game that I tried out at the game store called Kaboom. And the intent of Kaboom is to build towers while other people use their catapults to knock your towers over.
Oh, that sounds cool.
It is hectic and a lot of fun. We had a lot of fun with that, too. So, anyway, let's go on to apps. And, Jesse, you get to start.
Oh, right. Well,
Did Johnny do games?
Yeah, Johnny did games.
Oh.
yeah, he did games.
Yeah,
My-
Johnny was first.
My favorite
Go ahead.
new app I have acquired is called Cthulhu Saves the World. And it's kind of like a Final Fantasy style overhead game. But you're Cthulhu. You're awoken from the deep, and as soon as you are, there's this wizard standing on the hilltop who just takes away all your power. The only way you can get your
power was Cthulhu.
Yep, the only way to regain your power is to become a hero.
Oh my god!
And in the process of becoming a hero, you find out what you're trying to destroy.
Oh,
It's hilarious.
Like
it doesn't take itself. It doesn't take itself seriously at all. It makes fun of the whole Japanese RPG sort of gameplay styles.
That's awesome.
I watched my old roommate Eric play it. It looks very much like an old 8-bit.
Yeah, kind of the old Zelda sort of.
Yeah. But it looked interesting, and he was playing a lot of it, but he got it on. It's available on Xbox as well.
It is. It's available on Steam, too. I bought it on Steam on sale, and I was playing it. I was thinking, I like this, but it doesn't really compete with the kind of games I play on my computer. I wish this was an app, and then I looked it up, and hey, it's an app.
Yeah, it's only $1.99.
Yeah.
Right on.
Yep.
Anything else app-wise?
Yeah, I've also got an app called the Call of Cthulhu Character Generator, I believe you talked about earlier.
Yeah.
I absolutely love it. I've made like 300 characters with it. It's great. There's a few flaws. It doesn't have all the jobs.
Well, and it doesn't have all the jobs as in it doesn't have the jobs from like the 1920s guide.
Yeah.
Which that's kind of a disappointing, and I agree.
But you can edit things, too. I've been doing a lot of editing. Like, you just keep track of how many points you have to spend. You don't spend any points, and then you just kind of mark what you would get if you took the other job.
Yeah. And when you can email these to yourself from the app, and they come through as PDFs. They come through as, it shows up as an image broken in your email.
Yeah.
You right-click it and say Save As, and it saves as a PDF.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I was kind of disappointed when it sent, and I was like, oh, this didn't work great. So... yeah, I like it. It was worth the $5 I paid for it.
Oh, absolutely.
So.
I didn't think I would use it that much, but yeah, I mean, just fiddling around with it, you try a whole lot of different possibilities real quickly with it.
So we're going to move on to Shirley with apps.
Okay. The most that I've been interacting with right now is Spotify, which is my music app. I think everybody basically knows what Spotify is.
Yeah, we talked about it last week too.
And then I found a new. It's called Bandcamp, and it's for a lot of those like non-mainstream artists, musicians that are indie, like not indie rock, but indie
titles. Yeah.
Yeah, indie titles. And they're not known, like, on Spotify. I can't find one of my favorite artists, so I looked them up online, and I found Bandcamp, and then Bandcamp, the site led me to the iOS app. So I got that. Goodreads is really nice. I like being able to go and see what all my friends are reading, and that's led me down a path which has pointed out some good books that I put on my wish list. And then I just downloaded Tumblr this week, and I'm kind of trying to get acclimated to it. I love writing, but it's just, it seems like a hodgepodge of things, and I used to write on I used to write on Writer's Cafe, and the more I looked at it, I just reactivated my account on Writer's Cafe, and I'm not sure if I'm gonna like stick with Tumblr because
there's writing on Tumblr. I thought it was just like an image host.
Originally it was, but writing is cropped as a thing that happens. Because it's kind of like Twitter in its appearance, but it doesn't have the 140 character cap.
Oh, okay.
So,
and the thing is, it's not just the app. Tumblr is actually a website, which is kind of reminds me of MySpace a little bit, but not really. Well, and you just get to throw stuff on your profile. And
the thing that I was told about Tumblr that's important is that when somebody else likes what you have, it doesn't link it or do anything. It shows up as they have shared it, and that's it. So it links everything that that is tied to it back to your Tumblr, which means if I put up 100 things on my Tumblr and Johnny likes one, if Johnny's friend sees that one, he's going to have immediate access to everything I've done.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the importance of it as far as social media goes. So I've not used it yet. I'm dragging my feet, and I probably ought to get into it.
Matt knows a lot more about it than I do. I just got it, and I'm still trying to get
acclimated. The website does not have a Tumblr yet. Yeah.
No. Well, actually, we do. There's just nothing on it.
Do we have a Tumblr?
I grabbed our name.
Oh, sweet.
Cool.
Okay. So the website has an empty Tumblr. Go like it.
Yeah.
Go like it.
John, any apps for you?
Well, I mean, sorry, my brain just went blank for a minute there. Edit point. Anyway, the app that I use...
He thinks I edit.
So I'm not getting edited out.
The app I use the most has again been written about on the website, Podkicker. I think I've brought it up a few times, but I'll just pitch it again. Earlier I talked about finding Escapepod and Podcastle. I've also found several other podcasts through this app, because once you start building a library, Podkicker will make suggestions. And I found that very fun to see what it wants to suggest to me, listen to a few episodes, and then decide whether or not it's worth my time. So that is a really good app to use.
So it's kind of like Pandora for podcasts.
Well, it kind of is, except I would give that more to Stitcher, because on Stitcher, if you listen to, say, our podcast, you'll get one episode of our podcast. I don't even think we're on Stitcher, are we?
This podcast is on Stitcher.
It is? Okay.
We don't care for Stitcher, though. We can talk about that.
Yeah, we should talk about that off mic. But anyway, on Stitcher, if you listen to our podcast, you will then be followed by, or the next episode that comes up will be in the same general category as our podcast. Kind of like Pandora, where it's like if you listen to Dave Matthews Band, the next one you might get will be Mumford and Sons. They're related but not the same and all that. That's what Stitcher does. Podkicker it's just like, hey, you listen to these podcasts. These are also in that genre, but you have to go out and download them. So it's not exactly the same, but it's close.
Okay. Anything else? Any other apps?
That's really all I have to talk about. There's Clash of Clans came to the Android a little while ago.
Oh, nice.
I wrote about it for the website, and I'm hitting that point, Jesse, that we talked about, where everything is taking a day or two.
Yep.
And I'm like, I don't know how much longer I can be interested in this.
That's the way it worked with me too. Unfortunately,
yeah,
it's fun for a while.
Yeah, but I'm not going to spend any money on it.
No.
Because it doesn't get me anything. And maybe if I had more friends on it and we had a clan together, but I don't have the drive to like talk you guys into joining. So it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
So,
fair enough.
But it's a fun game. You build a village, you fight guys, you fight goblins and other players, but you get to a point where it's going to cost you money or it's going to take forever to play.
Right on.
Yeah.
Well, then we'll go to me. I will talk about Kickstarter app. I'm actually on that all the time since we have a Kickstarter up currently, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But the Kickstarter app is really good for tracking what's going on with your Kickstarter. It's also really good for tracking what Kickstarters you've backed. I like that a lot.
Doesn't it suggest them too?
It does. I don't like Kickstarter or the website or the app's suggestions. It seems very limited, and I don't get anything out of it. I usually find Kickstarters through people promoting them. I also have been playing a game called Ascension. It's a deck building game that has an app.
Oh, yeah.
I really like it.
Yeah, the app is great for it. I really like that one too.
Yeah. Ascension is interesting because you have buying and fighting, and you fight the monsters, which gives you glory, and glory is what you count up at the end of win the game. So there's a limited glory pool, and as soon as that's done, that ends the game, and then you count points. So I like it. I enjoy whacking cultists over and over and over again.
Yeah, and you'd invite Jesse to play if he actually answered you.
Yeah.
within
I
5
mean, if I
days.
ever invited Jesse and he actually responded to my game invites.
Ticket to Ride.
I think we still got Ticket to
3
Ride
months
going.
to play.
Yeah. So I've been playing that. I'm always using the Sentinels in the Multiverse sidekick. I love that. Still. I don't know if there's anything
you've
else.
ever explained that on mic.
So Sentinels of the Multiverse Kickstarter or sidekick. Sentinels of the Multiverse has a lot of tokens and a lot of cards, and this tracks all the hit points for all the cards. It can track tokens. It can track effects. It keeps you from having to keep track of 35 extra things that you don't need to keep track of. It does it all for you. It also lets you randomize what you're playing, which is kind of cool because you can go, okay, these are the 5 people at the table. I've all assigned you a spot. Hit random, and it assigns a random environment, a random villain, and random heroes. And you can set it to say, well, I only have these expansions and these promo cards. Don't choose anything else.
See,
so
that's nice. I've played too many games where people pick the villain first and then the heroes to beat the villain, and that's not the way the game's meant to be played.
And then the next step to it is that if I have it on my iPad, and Jesse, you have it on your iPad, and Johnny has it on his iPad, and Shirley has it on her iPad, we all link the same game. So we just keep track of our stuff. Instead of having to keep track of everybody's stuff on one.
But that's all the games.
My iPad Mini's a little too small to track everybody's stuff on all at once. We found a way around that with individual character views per turn, but other than that, I like it. I end up using it a lot. And we've been using HBO Go, but that's a whole nother thing. So, we'll move on into movies, and I don't know, who wants to start that?
Johnny.
Okay, so Johnny.
Oh, okay, hold on. Let me look at my Netflix account again, because I forgot what I was going to talk about when we got here. Oh, yeah, okay,
What?
I got you.
Oh, never mind.
So there were 2 movies that I wanted to talk about. If you like monster movies, they're not necessarily horror movies, but they're schlocky monster movies that are kind of fun. The first one is called Grabbers. It is set in Ireland, and an alien monster comes down and starts eating people on this island off of the coast of Ireland. And the thing is, the monster can't tolerate high blood alcohol content. So the Irish people on this island have to get drunk in order to survive the monsters.
That sounds amazing.
It is, and I love the Irish accent, so it's pure joy listening to all those drunk Irish people talk.
This is on Netflix?
It's on Netflix. It's called
I know what we're watching.
Grabbers. Yeah, it's
Grabbers?
It's not scary. It's a little gory. There might be 1 or 2 jump scares, but it's not horrible. So,
would you equate the scariness to like Dale and Tucker?
I haven't seen that one yet. I know.
What is wrong with you?
I keep forgetting to turn it on.
Amazing.
I might watch it after we get done recording tonight.
Yeah. I keep telling Matt I want to rewatch it, and he's like, "No, we've already watched it."
So then the other one that I'm not sure how I feel about yet. I kind of want to read up on it and diagnose it a little more, but it's still fun. It's called Doghouse, set in England. I would equate both of these movies to slightly more gory Shaun of the Dead.
Okay.
Doghouse is even closer to Shaun of the Dead versus Grabbers. In Doghouse, there is the main character, arguably, because there's like 6 guys. One of the guys is getting divorced, and his buddies want to cheer him up, and they decide to do this by taking him to the most remote English village they can find, because one of the characters' grandmother lives there. She's going away on vacation for 2 weeks, so they have the house themselves for the weekend. Anyway, when the guys they drive their minibus up there, they start walking through town and see that things are weird. Turns out that the British government has been experimenting on this town and has turned all the women into psychotic murderous zombies. And they have killed all the men. And they hunt down men. And I won't go into more detail, but there is a zombie bride. There's a zombie bride. There is a zombie leather-clad hairdresser. There is a zombie Wiccan shop owner. There is a woman who I will just call Rotund and leave it at that, in a negligee. She and her husband were going to celebrate their wedding anniversary when she fell victim to the disease or the gas or whatever it was,
and murdered him.
She captures one of the guys and tries to romance him as she eats him. It's fun. It's not. It's like I said. It's gory. It's a little gory, but it's not. It's not even as bad as Saw. Like Saw was kind of over the top. This has blood. Yeah. This has a little bit of guts, but it's a little schlocky horror. It's not horrible. It's not a bloodbath, but there's blood. So the thing about this movie is every time one of the guys starts talking about how they should be civilized and do things in a civilized manner, that's when they die.
Yeah.
So the message I got from the end of the movie is, be a male chauvinist pig. It's the right way to be in the world, because that's how they survive. Again, I think I need to diagnose it a little more, give it another, give it a little, because I wasn't like glued to the television. I was doing other stuff, so I may have missed some of the finer points. But it's funny. I mean, it's not that chauvinistic. Like, they have a gay character, and they give him a little crap about hitting for the other team or whatever, but then they accept him and he's their friend, but it's about being a man. So it's kind of weird, but it's enjoyable, I think, if you like the Shaun of the Dead style movie.
All right.
Cool.
Jesse.
Well, I watched the first season of Arrow since it's on Netflix.
Okay.
I liked it. It took a while to get into it, but it's pretty good.
Shirley and I have been watching it.
Yep.
We're like 19
Episode
in.
19?
It's not bad.
Yeah.
I honestly, compared to everything else DC's trying to put out right now, this is what I have the most faith in.
Yeah, me too.
I like the animated movies.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah.
Okay. But, I mean, Dark Knight was great. Dark Knight Rises was kind of not. And then Man of Steel has a lot of problems. And it only looks like those are going to keep happening in the next couple.
Yeah, they're trying to rush things, unfortunately, it seems like.
Well, no, they delayed things.
Maybe.
They did. They pushed
JLA.
Or Batman versus Superman, whatever it's going to be. In the end, they pushed that back, I believe, a whole season from 2015, summer of 2015 to spring of 2016.
Oh.
Yeah.
If I remember correctly.
Anyway, Arrow's been pretty good.
I like it. I like the way it's dealing with the villains and things. I mean, it had the Royal Flush getting in it. I mean, I wasn't expecting that.
That was a good episode. You haven't gotten into it yet, but they've in season 2 they are introducing Suicide Squad.
Yeah, I've heard about that. That makes sense because they had the bomb collars already.
Yeah, it's an interesting little subplot that they say is going to ramp up real soon. The Clock King was on the latest episode I watched.
Oh, really?
He was fun. Yeah. And then the guy that played Spawn is the Bronze Tiger in the series. So that's fun too. See him doing stuff again.
Anything else, Jesse?
I've also recently rewatched The Hobbit 2.
Nice.
And I might have been a little harsh on it after rewatching it. I don't know. I enjoyed the second viewing quite a bit more. I really did, and I know
you couldn't have enjoyed it less.
Did you watch it by yourself?
4 out of 5 isn't a bad score, but I do think it might be 5 because
no.
You know what? Go away.
Why?
I'm right there with you.
He's just telling Matt to go away.
Yeah, Matt needs to go away.
Why?
Matt needs to go away.
No.
I'm right there with you, Jesse.
You know what? Go back and listen to our podcast. It's all there.
My biggest problems were
all the things they got wrong.
Yeah, but it didn't seem to last as long this time. I mean, it's like the big waste of time at the end was only like maybe 15 minutes. Okay, it felt like 15, but it might have only been a couple minutes.
It was only a couple minutes.
Anything else, Justin?
No, that's about it.
Shirley?
Right now, due to my extensive reading, I'm still watching Falling Skies, season 2. So I'm slowly going through that. I just started watching, a couple episodes into American Horror Story Asylum.
Oh.
Yeah, Adam Levine is in it. I was like, whoa, hey, and then his arm falls off, and I'm like, whoa, hey.
Yeah, no spoilers there, thanks.
And then, what else am I watching? And I'm watching Arrow with you.
Mm-hmm.
And
been watching West Wing.
Yeah, we're still kind of moseying through West Wing. I'm kind of getting a, like, Doctor Who,
5.
Yeah.
Itch.
We need to, like, get back to watching Doctor Who. We've taken a break from that.
Right on. Is that about it?
Ooh, Matt Smith. No.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah,
okay,
it.
So that's it for you. We just finished up Game of Thrones Season 3.
Yep.
Did
my
you?
God.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, so.
Which is great because we have HBO Go now, so we can watch Season 4 as it comes out.
Yeah.
Which
Right.
starts
Was
the
things
next month.
spoiled for you before it happened, or were you shocked?
No matter how many times I yelled at Johnny, he didn't manage to spoil it for me.
Good.
The Red Wedding.
Yeah, that was... We watched that one and did not watch another episode for like 3 weeks.
Yeah.
We watched that and I was like, I can't do this. I can't do this. I can't do this.
Bawling my freaking eyes out. That was bull crap.
That was a rough episode, but
that was like,
I like where they're going with a lot of the characters.
I lost my whole family episode.
But we keep telling each other that we can't start liking people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we started liking the Lannister guy who was going back and forth between camps.
Oh yeah.
And then he gets put in with Jaime Lannister, and I was like, and I look at Shirley and I'm like, I'm kind of starting to like him, and then literally he's dead 5 minutes later, and I'm like, okay.
30 seconds.
And then like Tyrion's his page or his squire, I'm like, I'm starting to like him. No, I'm not. No, I'm not. No, I'm not.
No, we
do
not like him.
And I'm like, Bree from Tarth. I'm
no,
like, no, I don't. No, I
don't.
don't.
Like
No, I don't.
either.
No. So we have to be very careful who we start to like. I'm starting to like Jaime, but I know that Jaime's not going to die. And I do like Daenerys
we should
a
like
lot.
Joffrey.
We should love Joffrey. He will die quickly. God, he needs to get run over by a truck. They need to invent a truck just to run him over.
The thing is, like, Jack Gleason, when we watched the last episode, we were, like, fiending for more, so we watched the spoiler for the next...
the spoilers for Season 4,
For Season 4, and Jack Gleason, he's a pretty cool kid. He's got his head on straight, and I heard via rumor, I can't remember where I heard it from, but he gets, like, a lot of threats saying he's a jerk and all kinds of stuff because of the role that he plays, but in the spoiler, it was pretty cool.
And speaking of Game of Thrones, we're going to get to meet Hodor.
Andy Popcorn.
At Indy Popcorn.
Oh, really?
Hodor.
Hodor will be in the podcast alley.
And
nice.
Esma.
And Esme, Rosalind.
Rosalind. Yeah. I'm not going to be able to look either of them in the face.
I think that Indy Popcorn can only get the actors that have been completely naked in Game of Thrones.
Everybody's been completely naked in Game of Thrones.
It's not true. I mean, it's not. Jaime hasn't been.
Jaime, you saw his butt.
Oh, that's right. Never mind. Okay, fair enough. What else? I've been rewatching Sons of Anarchy, just because I thought I could, and I did. It's just as good as I thought. It still has the same slow points in Season 3 that I thought it had. I still enjoyed it.
What about the Law show you really like?
The Law show.
Cowboy Hat.
Oh, I haven't watched any Justified lately.
Yeah.
I need to. And then I am 5 episodes into House of Cards Season 2, and it is better than the first season, and I'm surprised I can say that. I really, really liked Season 1, so...
So, did you hear the barbecue place?
Shut up, Shirley. So, that'll do us for movies, I think. That's a good set. Even though none of my movies in there were all TV shows.
Yeah.
In fact, I think there's 2 movies on that entire list. That's awesome.
Have we even watched any movies?
No, we really haven't. And the movies I have watched, like Trading Spaces and Big Trouble in Little China and something else that I just reviewed, are the last 3 movie reviews that went up.
So they are reviews.
Yeah.
You're not wasting time.
No. We watched Trading Places together. And I put on Big Trouble in Little China in the background because I could watch that all day, every day.
I don't even get that.
Oh,
how do you not like that?
I know, right?
I only like it because of Raiden.
Before we get into our little trivia challenge, we're going to do a short one of those. Let's talk about our Kickstarter. So we just broke $400.
Woohoo!
We are $39 from our next stretch goal to get 2 tables, which I feel confident that we can get $39, maybe, hopefully.
You guys need to pump that out, pimp it out.
Yeah.
Facebook, everything.
So
tweet.
We would love to have you guys on a podcast, and you can do that. All you have to do is go to the Kickstarter.
Hey.
You can make us watch something. Somebody already threatened to make us watch Legend. Somebody else threatened to make us watch Gone with the Wind.
Woohoo!
Yeah.
Gone with the
I just want you to know that I am going to force us to watch something.
Yeah, I know. You haven't said what yet.
I just have to find out what you haven't seen.
This is true. I've not seen Legend, surprisingly.
Well, I was thinking of Watership Down, but that might be...
Yeah, no,
What's
thank you.
That?
Have you seen it?
No.
Would I be asking?
It's about bunnies.
It's a nice, warm, heartening tale of rabbits, cartoon rabbits.
Is it the book review that you did?
Yeah.
Jesse, you should make us watch Meet
I absolutely loved
the Feebles.
It kind of scarred
we
me.
should watch it.
You should make us watch Meet the Feebles.
No.
Let's Meet the Feebles.
Peter Jackson's puppet movie.
That's scary.
Yeah,
my
it
face.
is. Yes,
you guys,
it absolutely is.
Video. You should see my face. What?
We could do it.
We can, no. We will not do it. I will veto that. There are very few movies.
That will be the podcast Matt's not on.
We could watch Cannibal the Musical.
What?
That one's not that great.
How about Repo Man? Repo whatever it is.
Repo the Genetic Opera?
Yeah.
I'd rather watch
I could find it streaming anywhere. Reefer Madness the Musical is a great one.
Okay, I could see that. Anyway, so you can get.
Hilarious.
So let's get back to the ad here, guys.
Yeah.
Do we get to bring snacks?
Yeah. So we are $39 away from our next stretch goal, $139 away from our 3rd stretch goal. We don't have a 4th stretch goal yet, but I'm working on that right now.
But if you guys get us there, we will have a stretch goal for you.
So we're going to have prints available to anybody that backs us at $10 or $10 or more. We have add-ons for shirts and for more prints, and we would love to get you guys involved and get stuff out to you. And thank you on the podcast. So you can head over to tinyurl.com/nerdpopkick and check that out. We've already met our goal. We just need to meet some extra stretch goals. Also, if you want to head over to the website, you should always head over to the website and read all of our reviews. But if you notice, there's a new box on the side that says "Want to go to Indie PopCon?" You should click that if you want to buy tickets, and that'll put in our little code and get us a little credit for what you're doing. It costs you the same thing, but it's $20 a day and $45 for the whole weekend. And it's going to be a lot of fun. There's going to be a lot of media guests, a lot of artists, some podcasts. We'll have a couple of booths there, hopefully. And then we'll be doing a panel there as well. So you should check all that out, and we would be happy to have you support us. So now, let's get into our new trivia challenge called Fill in the Google Answer. I don't know. What are we calling this?
Sounds good to me.
You made up the
Okay,
game,
fill
dude.
in. Yeah. So it's called Fill in the Google Answer.
How did you make this game up?
It came to me one day. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to type a phrase, which I would be happy to take a suggestion from you guys, that will end in a question. So, like, as we discussed earlier, what do I do
with a flaming bag of
with?
poop.
What do I do with? And then you wait. That's what you wait for, to see what it fills out. And it usually gives me 4 answers, but it's only giving me 2 right now. Oh, wow. That's
defunct.
So, how about, how do I fix?
How do I fix? And we're going to start with
Shirley,
Jesse. Oh, yeah, Shirley. Let's start with Shirley. And we're going to go for the highest answer. And if nobody answers on this list, I will ask again for another round.
How do I fix my car?
Okay. Jesse?
My broken toe.
You have a broken toe. Johnny?
The internet.
Ooh, no. So, Shirley, go ahead and try again.
How do I fix my refrigerator?
No. Jesse?
My mind.
No. Johnny?
My car.
Okay, we're going to go one more time around. Come on, guys.
Give us a hint.
My is the next word. So, Shirley?
How do I fix my my?
My what? How do I fix is the question. How do I fix my... This is the next word. I'm just giving you a hint.
How do I fix my computer?
Jesse?
How do I fix my TV?
Johnny?
How do I fix my boyfriend?
Okay, so the top 4 answers are, how do I fix my garbage disposal?
What?
How do I fix a zipper?
What?
How do I fix my life?
Oh, that was going to be my... Yeah.
Oh.
How do I fix my credit?
Oh.
So, Jesse, you get to suggest one now. How about, why do I always cry when? Cry when. So we'll start with Jesse since this was supposed to be his.
Let's see. Why do I always cry when I stub my toe? I have toe problems, by the way.
Clearly, Johnny.
Go with that one.
Johnny.
Why do I always cry when doves fly?
Oh my God! Why do I always cry when doves?
Shirley.
Why do I always cry when my dog runs away?
Jesse, we're going to start again with you. Why do I always cry when?
My computer doesn't work.
Johnny.
I have no idea.
Think about your personal life, Johnny. Why do I always cry when I poop?
When my life is a mess.
Pass.
Shirley.
When my life is a mess.
Well, okay. We'll go again around one more time.
Oh my God.
Wow, we're really good at this game. Jesse.
When my garbage disposal's broken.
Why do I always cry when I forget to save a game?
Johnny, are you passing again?
Yes, I am.
And
when my dog dies.
No. So the top 4 answers were, in reverse order, when I yawn. Why do I always cry when I drink? I'm really surprised nobody got that.
I know.
I'm drunk probably would have been logical, but I didn't think of that till now.
Why do I always cry when I sing? Why do I always cry when I laugh? All right, so last round we're going to get Johnny a chance to ask a question. Yeah.
Oh, crackers.
What does it mean when?
What does it mean when... Fair enough. Okay. We'll start with you, Johnny.
So,
None of these are terrible. They're all right. Go ahead, John.
It's like rated PG.
What does it mean when I don't know. I am not quick and witty. That's why
you're all right.
I want to go.
Okay, let Shirley go.
Yeah, Shirley, go
What
ahead.
does it mean when I can't get an erection?
Oh, I thought we were keeping this PG.
Well, you
I
said
got
it
one.
was
Moving on to
bad.
Jesse. Go ahead.
What does it mean when there's blood in my stool?
Oh.
See, that's the word.
No, it's, I don't know. Johnny.
What does it mean when I dream about flying?
Okay. Well, we'll go around again. Shirley.
What? Nobody got one?
No.
Oh my gosh. What does it mean when my car won't start?
Okay. Johnny or Jesse?
What does it mean when I spend more time playing games?
Johnny.
What does it mean when I wake up in a pool of blood without any cuts on my arm?
We can't sleep at Johnny's house anymore.
Oh my gosh.
Shirley.
Okay.
Next
What
try.
does it mean when my child won't wake up?
Jesse. Good Lord.
I don't know.
What does it mean when my foot itches?
Johnny.
What does it mean when we can't figure out answers to this
Yeah.
question, to this game?
Okay, so in reverse order, and I'm leaning between giving this to Johnny or Jesse.
Oh, man.
What does it mean when you have a dream about sex? Not flying. You were close.
Oh, so
Dream.
Yeah, I know. The next one is, what does it mean when your palm itches, not your foot?
Well, something itches.
What does it mean when your eye twitches? What does it mean when a state of emergency is declared?
Wow.
And that has been a rousing round of finish the Google question.
I like it.
It's a thing. We might try it again. But that will do us tonight on the Nerds Domain podcast. And we want to thank you for checking us out. You can always give us what you think over at our email at nerdsdomain@gmail.com. And we would love to hear from you. And we will talk to you guys real soon.
Peace out.
Bye.